Washington State just admitted it can account for $37 million in child care payments. Not misplaced paperwork, not minor discrepancies, millions paid out with no clear verification. And while families are struggling to afford child care and taxpayers are footing the bill, the system responsible for managing can't even prove where the money went. From Seattle to Los Angeles, this is Left Coast News. No apologies, just the truth. Welcome back to Left Coast News. Today we're continuing coverage on a developing situation out of Washington State, one that raises serious questions about oversight, accountability, and whether government programs are actually being managed the way taxpayers expect. This is part 2 of our coverage on the state's child care funding system. What the audit actually found. A new report highlighted by the Washington State Standard shows approximately $37 million in child care subsidy payments that were improper, unsupported, or could not be verified. The issues weren't minor. The audit found missing or incomplete attendance records, weak eligibility verification, payments issued without sufficient documentation. In simple terms, the state distributed tens of millions of dollars without maintaining the basic records needed to justify it. Connection to our previous coverage. In our previous episode, we outlined how Washington expanded child care assistance programs rapidly, especially during and after COVID. At the time, safeguards were loosened to move money quickly. That included reduced verification requirements, faster approval processes, less stringent oversight. The intent was speed, but the trade-off was predictable. And now this audit confirms what happens when oversight takes a back seat. You lose track of the money. National context, and this is bigger than Washington. This issue doesn't exist in a vacuum. Across the United States, federal watchdogs have identified billions of dollars in improper payments across multiple programs. Unemployment assistance, pandemic relief funds, small business aid, and child care subsidies. Washington is not, unfortunately, unique. It's just one of the clear examples of a broader trend. Emergency policies were implemented quickly, but accountability systems never fully caught up. Constitutional and governance analysis. This is where the conversation needs to shift. Government funding is not abstract. It comes from taxpayers, which means every dollar distributed carries an obligation, transparency, oversight, and accountability. When a state cannot verify where tens of millions of dollars went, it creates a fundamental problem. Because limited government is not just about size, it's about control, structure, and responsibility. Without those elements, spending authority expands while accountability weakens. Economic impact and supply side effects. At the same time this is happening, Washington families face some of the highest child care costs in the country. Providers are dealing with staffing shortages and rising operational costs. Access to child care remains limited in many areas. So the system is under strain from both sides. Demand is high, costs are rising, and resources are not being efficiently managed. That creates downstream effects. Reduced workforce participation, increased financial pressure on families, and long-term instability in the child care sector. What to watch next? There are 3 key areas to monitor moving forward. Number 1, recovery efforts. Will the state attempt to recover any of the improperly distributed funds? Number 2, policy changes. Will verification and oversight systems actually be strengthened or just adjusted on paper? And number 3, accountability measures. Will anyone be held responsible for the failures identified in the audit? No. Historically, these types of findings result in process changes but limited direct accountability. This situation didn't start with this audit, and it likely doesn't end here. Because once a system demonstrates it cannot track tens of millions in public funds, the real question becomes how many other gaps haven't been identified yet? If you want real breakdowns of what's happening in Washington state and across the West Coast without the watered down narratives, you're in the right place. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, Rumble, Brighteon, BitChute, and other social media sites, and follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram so that you don't miss the next update. You can also find us on leftcoastnews.net. This story isn't over, and we'll be tracking every development as it unfolds. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is just mismanagement or something deeper? And if you found value in this, share it. That's how we get this information in front of more people who need to see it. Thanks for watching.